Okay, this is going to happen to you in so many tournaments that you're going to play. You're going to be heads up, and wow, someone shoves 12 big blinds. What do we call with? Queen Jack suited on the surface looks like a beautiful hand, and actually something that helps me a lot and can easily help you is what I call the any ace family range. It's just a simple way of remembering that any pair, any ace, king 10, king 9 suited, and queen jack suited, okay, is the any ace family range. So basically, in a situation where you are thinking, I would call with any ace here, well, you can also call with any pair, and king 10, and king 9 suited, queen jack suited. So that's a really great real-time tip, and that's actually something that, oh man, when I played, I used that all the time, and it's really, really effective, and it's great, and it's easy to remember and easy to use. So I hope you enjoy that one. But I think for 10 big blinds, that's great. Like, oh, that guy shoved 10 big blinds. I know I'd call with any ace here. Okay, king 10, king 9 suited, queen jack suited. I'm going to call those. But then when someone shoves 12 big blinds, maybe 13, maybe 14, but mainly 12. It's this question of, do we call here? Like, would I call with ace 2 here? I'm not so sure anymore. One thing you'd want to take into consideration is what type of game you're heads up in. I know right here we're looking at a hyper turbo. In a hyper turbo, I think you can be way more likely to make this call, which you do. Ooh, dominate him, amazing. And the reason why in hypers it can tend to be better is because there's less time in the game. Blinds get larger, faster. You play tons of hyper turbos probably, and you're going to see these situations again and again and again and again. It's a really great long-term call, etc., etc. If you're playing in like a 180 man or something like that, you might want to lay back a little bit for making this call, because 180, there's going to be more value in that game. It's worth more. You get to heads up in 180 mans less often, so you probably want to make sure that you're being a little more a little more prideful. If that's a word, you can search for taking pride heads up. That'll give you more information on that. But overall, the big thing that I want you to take from this is that any ace family range, and in hypers, I think it's okay to call. If you wanted to call this against someone, say like in a 9 or an 18 man, and you were heads up against someone you knew they were an aggressive, shoving regular or something like that, I think it's great. If you were ever making this call with zero information as a default for 12 big blinds, then it's a mistake. So if that sounds like any of you watching this, like, oh, hey, I think I'd call this as a default, then you're making a mistake, and all you have to do to fix that is just tighten your range. A really good default 12 big blind calling range heads up with no prior information is going to be something like ace 8. Okay, and then with ace 8, you can say like pocket 6s, pocket 5s, something like king queen suited at the widest. And that would be a really good default range. And then, of course, it could be a default if you knew that this player was really, really wide. So queen jack suited could be your default because you're in the any ace family range. Okay, but ideally what you need to get out of this little video is the any ace family range. You want to remember that. You want to remember how to adjust that range based on what type of heads up you're in, because not all heads ups are the same. Even though math programs and just math overall will say, oh, it's chip EV, it's the exact same thing. Realistically, it's not, because in some games you get heads up way more often than others. Some games are worth way more than others. Okay, so now you have the logic to just think through that freely and understand how everything works, how everything functions, and you can use this advice as soon as right now. So go load up some tables, try this out, especially if you're someone who plays hyper turbos. You will see these spots probably in the next 30 minutes, and you'll know exactly what to do. See ya.